last time I talked to a Google product manager, they have a swath of all these innovations in their Google Workspace, whether it be the free or the paid. You can ask Gemini to
throw that in a note document that's like one RAG document almost. And then I want to be able to very quickly go
get Claude on our Alexa devices.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is September 27th, 2024, and you're listening and watching the Daily AI Show live. And today, we're going to talk about our Q4 predictions for the rest of 2024. We're not even looking into 2025 yet. We're just talking about Q4, which comes up here in just a few days. Next Tuesday would be the start of Q4 on October 1st. Also, as you may be able to see behind me here, it's our 300th episode. So sort of a side, like a side quest is, we've been doing this show for over a year now. We already passed our 1-year anniversary a little while ago, but obviously doing 5 shows a week takes a little bit longer to add up to that 300. But we have not missed a Monday through Friday for now the entire thing. So it's like, I think it's pretty impressive. We've gone through all holidays. We've always managed to have at least 2 people here on the show. Today, by the way, we have Jyunmi, Beth, and I'm Brian. And so we're not going to do any sort of retrospectives or anything necessarily about, the show. It really is about Q4 and what's coming up, but it's kind of a fun side deal that we have going on as well, because it's kind of a cool thing to think that we've done 300, or we're about to do our 300th discussion about AI, which is a great time to just remind you too. If you're just finding us, if you're coming here because you want to know what the Q4 predictions are, and you're like, who are these people? And that's shocking to me that they would have done 300 of these. We do this every Monday through Friday on the weekdays, and we go live at 10 a.m. Eastern. As I was just saying, we haven't missed a Monday through Friday yet. And, if you like what this show is about, if you like our predictions and just sort of having sort of that Monday or that morning talk show, radio sort of talk show conversation between some lovable folks like us, then, check out some of our other episodes. And if you like those episodes, hey, a couple of likes or subscribe goes a really long way for us. So I would love to see you guys come back over and over again. And obviously, thank you to all of our return listeners and watchers and viewers and all our folks that are live right now in our YouTube comments channel. We have a great group there as well. So thank you to everybody who's supporting us all through this 300. Now, let's move on to today's topic. So Jyunmi and Beth, I know you guys have a couple things keyed up looking forward. And although we will later on in this year, we will do a 2025 prediction show just like we did. But I wanted to go back and just look and see when we did our 2024. And it turns out we did our prediction show on December 2nd. I think it was episode like 76. And the reason I wanted to do that is not necessarily look backwards, but we did make predictions in that 2024. And so I wanted to see like, do any of these predictions look like, either did they come true or do they look like they're going to come true in the last 3 months? And we can talk about those. So here's some of the things we brought up now, just to kind of, bring you back Wayne's World style to last year, December 2nd. There had just been a major shakeup and then not shakeup at OpenAI. So when I look back at our transcript, and by the way, to do this, I used Notebook LMs, which we talked about in Google, but I used the new feature of theirs, which is now you can just give it a YouTube link, which I did for that show, and I can get a nice summary and description. So that's all I did. You guys could do that too. But I went back. We were obviously on that show talking a little bit about what happened at OpenAI. In fact, on that show, we were like, will Sam stay at OpenAI? Yes, he came back. We kind of know that whole story. And then beyond that, we sort of talked about a couple of main things here. We talked about Google's resurgence. So the host predicted that Google would release a significant AI product in 2024, potentially reclaiming its position in the AI landscape. They believe this product would be compelling enough to shift user preferences away from products like ChatGPT. So we could talk about Google, which we're definitely going to do. The rise of personal AI agents. One host, it says, predicted, it doesn't say who, the emergence of this quote, truly viable personal agent by the end of 2024. We'll talk about agents and how close we think we are to that. Are they going to happen before the end of the year? We'll talk about that. Apple is a major player. The host highlighted Apple as a potential major player in the AI landscape. I think there's like a already sort of true there, and also maybe before the end of the year true. We could talk about what's going on with iOS 18, what's going on with the 16s. I have my 16 right here, fun color on there. And we'll talk about what Apple Intelligence may look like. So that happened. And our last one that I have on here was NVIDIA. NVIDIA's continued dominance with potential challenges. And at that time, we were talking about sort of the holdup in the AI chip market. But I also think this is a good segue into the last quarter because NVIDIA has continued to dominate. Their stock has done very well. However, 2024 is definitely bringing some other major players into the chip market, and people are trying to do stuff, including Elon Musk and xAI and all the things they're doing at Tesla and all that stuff. So I think there's a couple of things in there that we talked about almost a year ago in December 2nd. So let's start with Google. I mean, and Google's obviously has some major announcements. I don't know, Beth, if you want to kind of pick up on that. By the way, Karl joined us as well. So we have 4 of us here today. But let's just talk about Google because we were predicting that they would have a major significant release in 2024. Have we seen it, or do we think it's going to happen before the end of the year if we're saying we're not? What do you think, Beth?
I think we've definitely seen it, right? I think 1.5, Gemini Pro 1.5, and particularly Gemini Pro 1.5 experimental, because everybody does these preview experimental kind of things. I think that was definitely a major announcement. It is more on the side of devs. It seems like the things that they're releasing, in fact, the things that they just released as well, seem to be much more geared toward devs and the ability to play with those things. 1.5 experimental is only accessible from the AI studio, which is like their backdoor playground console. It's just what they call it. So I am ever optimistic, maybe. I hope 2 is coming at some point, or 1.75. Like, they're clearly working on something. Yeah. So I think there's a little bit more. They also dropped Gems, which is their like custom GPT kind of thing. And I could see something coming in that flavor a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because they haven't really pushed it very hard, and they tend to not be great about announcing their stuff and showing how to use it until a little later. So I'm going to say those 2 things. I would not be surprised if they didn't, but I am predicting that there will be at least one more big release from Google, and it may just be like adding they added the audio portion to their Notebook LM, and it seems like they don't understand what we want. They're just like dropping stuff, and then it's like, no, wait, this was amazing. Like, yes, do this. So maybe there's something there. Like,
I think they do that. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they have a very playful. They've kind of always had that sort of playful of like, let's throw it against the wall. Let's see what sticks. And it's funny because like we were saying the other day, Notebook LM has been out for months and months, but they added this one little extra feature that they did not announce at all. I mean, talk about the exact opposite, Karl, of like the slick videos as you called it in our Slack channel the other day, which made me laugh because, more slick videos and look, go back a year and we're all dogging on Google for putting out highly produced videos that were not really relevant to or not exact of what they could do. So I don't know, Karl, like from your standpoint, and your trials and tribulations with Google from a Canadian standpoint, do you think they have anything left in the tank for just the rest of 2024, talking like the next 90 days here?
I think like when they released a couple days ago, or what I think it was a couple days ago, when they released 1.5 flash 0, is it 02? And then 1.5 flash 0 or 1.5 Gemini Pro. When they released those, they're much better models, but unfortunately, 01 released and it really, like I said, it sucked all the energy out of the room, and no one was really like the people who are normally excited about it. Yeah, that's great. Show us something better. And I think everyone was looking forward to, Opus 3.5 or whatever that is. So I think there's probably one or two more. I don't know what those are. And even Notebook LM wasn't really, I didn't think they actually thought that would be something. That would just be hey, we're going to release this, just put it out in the wild. There's no videos on it, right? It's just, here's this thing that's always been there. And as a prediction wise, Google, I'm not sure. It seems like
you just went on mute for a second, Karl. There you go.
So when the last time I talked to a Google product manager, they have a swath of all these innovations it's all these incubators that they have, but a whole bunch of them, they never see the light of day. And so what gets commercialized, just don't know. So I would imagine Notebook LM was one of them. So what do we see next? I think the big thing that no one talks about too is that the video capability, being able to upload a video and that model being able to, you can ask questions against it. I think that's so undervalued and no one talks about that enough. But what sucks is it takes forever to get into that environment to be able to do that. So I think that's the tough thing is I think if you go into Gemini, you paid for it. I'm not sure you can even do that. I think you have to go to Google AI Studio to be able to do that. And I have to upload it into the cloud first and then I have to access it. That's the biggest pain. I think you can't just upload it quickly. It's go to cloud, upload it there, then I can access it in AI Studio. You're like, why would I do that? It's just a pain. So, but other than that, I think, there's some really good stuff. It just OpenAI sucked all the energy out of the room.
Yeah.
You can upload it to Drive. Like it doesn't have to be through Drive is also the cloud, but you don't have to upload it to Google's cloud console, just to be clear. But also Google owns YouTube and YouTube has dropped some AI enhancement for creators. And I can see more of that happening before the end of the year too. Just something.
Sorry, I missed what you just said because I couldn't hear what anyone was talking about again because StreamYard,
This should be where we say we're doing an experiment after this.
I was literally about to say that because I think it's a good time to bring that in. Yeah, so quick pause on predictions. Well, look, this is a daily AI show prediction for Q4. We will be moving off of StreamYard. That's our prediction for Q4, and I feel pretty confident it's going to come true. The reason for that is we've been using StreamYard for all 300 episodes, and actually it's up until 250 episodes has actually been really, really fine for us. And I don't know, StreamYard got bought out, and we've seen a significant drop in performance, which has caused us to potentially move over to Restream, which is a different program. So right after we end this show live, we're actually going to go live again on YouTube on a different live feed, basically just to test out the Restream live, make sure we can see everything. It really helps us to see some comments in there. So if you're live in our YouTube comments now, hang around right after this show. We'll probably cut this show. We'll stay on the shorter side of this show. And then we're going to immediately go live again. And we will just go live on YouTube. So you probably have to wait like 30 seconds. And then you will see it available on YouTube. You can join us over there because we actually want to see you guys comment on there and just make sure everything looks good. So yes, sorry if anybody's seeing any, like Karl is cutting out and stuff like that. Karl's been taking the brunt of this, unfortunately, for the last couple of weeks. But, if anybody's seeing any chops or anything like that, hopefully in the next week or two, we'll be on a better platform, which is a shame because we really like StreamYard. It's treated us well, but we can't have these kind of things happening. So there's a little pause there, but there you go. There's a Q4 prediction is that we will definitely be moving away from StreamYard because StreamYard doesn't work as well as it used to. And that's, hey, that's the way it goes, right? Hey, before we move off of Google real quick, because I know we want to get to a lot of other stuff, Jyunmi, do you have any quick comments on Google?
Prediction, outside chance, I would love to see Google really flex their integration muscle
and have the Google Workspace, whether it be the free or the paid. You can ask Gemini to move things around for you. That alone would be a fantastic drop for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'll just say on search, the only thing, well, Beth is like, hold on, go ahead, Beth. I can tell you want to talk on this. Go ahead.
That would be amazing. That would be so great. Yeah, I just like.
No, I saw your reaction. I was like, yeah, Beth likes this idea for sure. The only one I was going to say is a quick Google prediction. I think we will see another update in SEO and how Google is refining what the future of SEO. Somebody actually coined it the other day. I actually saw it in job titles. I like to look at job titles or job descriptions for new jobs because it's interesting to see what's going on in the AI space. I think sometimes job descriptions are a great way to see that. And somebody named that. It wasn't SEO, but it was like the AI side of SEO, right? So I think, we're already seeing Gemini. We already see that you could add basically Gemini and ask questions directly in your Google search bar inside of Chrome. I would expect that we're going to see probably one more minor update there where we see a few more tweaks. Whether it's announced or not, I don't know. I tend to see them literally as I'm getting into Chrome and I see updates. But I would suspect that before the end of the year. I don't think that's a huge lift. I just think we're seeing that, and it wouldn't surprise me if Google pushed a little bit more in that area. Let's turn really quickly. I don't think this is a huge discussion, but Apple. So where are we with Apple, right? Well, we were talking about in our 2024 predictions from last December, they were going to really come into the market. And I think it's a good reminder that they really weren't in the AI space per se. So 2024, they have definitely made some major moves there. They released, iOS 18. They came out with iPhone 16, which based on the news I can see is underperforming in terms of sales. I bought it, but that's because I had the basic 15 and I just, I didn't want FOMO, right? So I wanted to be able to do whatever the AI in terms of Apple Intelligence was their coin term for 2024 because, they can't say AI. So now it's Apple Intelligence for them. I wanted to be able to play with whatever that was. So where are we right now? What could happen in 2024 or the Q4? Well, we have, if you do the beta, you can get iOS 18.1 version 2. That's the latest update that I have on my phone. Yes, you can do some slightly better things with Siri, but and some other cool, like sort of more towards the emoji side of things. But we absolutely do not have the full suite of the Apple Intelligence. It's only going to work that full suite, that is the higher level Siri, meaning it can go to ChatGPT. That's only going to work on 15 Pros and forward. So 15 Pros or 16s or any of the 16 models. Like I said, that's why I particularly updated. My prediction is actually that we won't see that by the end of the year. I actually think it'll be 2025 before we actually see the full Apple Intelligence update that they were promising us. And actually, I find that to be a little sad because, they kind of gave the impression that this would be happening. And then they sort of pushed back and said, well, it won't happen when we release the 16. And now I think, honestly, based on everything I can see, I actually don't think it's going to happen until probably the new year. So that's a bummer because you kind of feel like you have a new toy that's not fully unlocked, That's the way I feel, at least. So we'll see. But do any of you guys disagree with me? Do any of you guys think we will see the full Apple Intelligence, meaning Siri can access ChatGPT or any other Siri things you can do before the end of the year in Q4?
I don't think so. I'm not sure because I haven't been following it too closely because I have a 15 Pro and I just uploaded the developer preview, so you get beta 1 point whatever.
Yeah.
So I've been, even though I had a lot of the features before, I just found I wasn't using any of them. Mind you, they weren't fully baked in.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of neat stuff like the image where you can edit things out. There's a little bit, your Siri's a little bit better, but with ChatGPT 4.0 voice, with advanced voice, it's like, well, I'd use that. The only thing though is it should connect online, but I'm using Perplexity, so why would I even my use case has been changed a bit. I've never really used Siri like that. But the things that are touted, like, oh, send an email to this person, or to write me a text, or the writing tools, because every single tool has that, I'm curious to know if anybody actually uses those things. It's like, oh, rewrite this. I don't know. I don't know if you use it on your phones for anything, like anybody who has a Android, I'm sure they have stuff that you can do that. I just don't know if anybody uses it.
The only thing I've used so far is I've used it twice that I can remember, which is the pre-filled message, iPhone message, iMessage replies, just like you would see in like LinkedIn when you do a DM. It gives you like, it's like 3 words or whatever. I've used that twice because in those particular cases, it was absolutely appropriate and faster for me to just click the canned response because it was the right response. And that saved me 0.2 milliseconds, so it's like, it's not a huge thing, but it's there. I will say the thing that I am most excited for, and I have even no idea if this is going to work, is I'm definitely more excited, not for the ChatGPT integration, how Siri works on device. I think that's where Apple can truly make a difference. And I said this to the people in the Apple store, and they kind of looked at me like I had 2 heads and then said, we don't know if that'll be possible. I think I mentioned on this show, I just want to create a note document of things that come up a lot. I think on the show I mentioned like the gate code to get to one of my daughter's friends' houses. Like I kind of need to know it 3 times a week at some point. I always forget the damn number. It's just like that kind of stuff doesn't stick with me, or neighbors' names, or like just stuff like that. That's kind of not like my social security number, just stuff in life. I want to throw that in a note document that's like one rag document almost. And then I want to be able to very quickly go, hey Siri, what's the gate code? It just came up. Yeah, just lit up.
Yeah. And
he's now telling me about what gate codes are. It's giving me you can't see it, but it says
that's peak Siri, right?
Oh my God. Anyway, so that's what I'm hoping happens. It's the on-device Siri things. I will either be thrilled because I'll be able to do like the notes thing, and I think that I will use all the time for really quick retrieval type stuff. Hey, who's the name of this person? Because I wrote it in there. It's not even like a hard lift, but I could see it being super helpful if I could just talk really quickly to my phone and pull it back. And I'm saying this not knowing if there's an app that literally does this for you right now, which may be also the case, So anyway, that's what I'm looking forward to. Beth, Jyunmi, anything on the Apple thing, on the Apple side?
I'm just going to quick say, I think we're going to get Claude on our Alexa devices before we get a Siri really working on the iPhone.
All right. That's a good prediction.
And I think we're going to get Claude before the end of the year.
Okay.
I want to use the math feature. I loved when they released the calculator finally. So now I want to see the math feature and try that out and just be able to start writing in things. That would be a great whatever layers of AI and interface that it takes to do that. That's probably what can enable what you're talking about, Brian. I just want to scribble in something. Okay, cool. Now it's part of your local rag, right?
Yep.
I want to see more on-device things in general, so that would be great for a launching point for Apple. Yeah.
By the way, I just want to give a quick shout out because I use it with my daughter. Photomath is the name of the app. There's several out there. My daughter's in geography. I always say that. Geometry. It's because I was a geography major, so it comes out of my brain. But geometry, my daughter's in geometry. And, listen, it's been 30 years since I've seen theorems on how to look at vertical axis angles and, so you can literally take a picture of the problem. And just to give you an example, it was like intersecting lines. It would give you one angle and ask you what the opposite angle was or a different angle. There's theorems that tell you, but the angles weren't like 47 degrees. They were algebra equations, right? So it was like solve for X and Y. Okay, I'm pretty good at math, but like it's been a minute, right? So now I'm trying to help my daughter. Well, you can just take a picture of that problem. And what I really, really loved was it's not like X is 20, Y is 15. It's like, here are all the steps to work through this problem logically. And this is not the only app like it, but I'll just give a shout out because I am literally using it in my house right now for my daughter in school because it really, really helps when I sat down with her. So quick shout out to that, but I'm with you. I would love to just see that stuff baked in right on the device. Speaking of on device, Meta has had a great week just in the last couple of days. In fact, we didn't really get it even onto our news show this week. I think we can do a whole show on this. We were talking about that. But right now, I have Llama. I keep forgetting I have my background here. So unused to that. Right now, I have Llama 3.2 3B running locally on my phone. And I'm getting 14 to 20 tokens per second response time on a latency. It ain't bad. And it's running completely independent locally on my phone. It is not connected to the internet in any which way. So, talking about on device, here's a prediction for 2024 for Q4. We will see more on device local options. Perhaps something even like fully baked out from like an Anthropic or something like that, where they're like, here's Claude local, or here's Gemini local, and they'll call it something like that. I mean, they'll probably call it Gemini agent or some crap, but it'll mean it's locally on your phone, and they'll tell you it's an agent. Another prediction for 2024: 7 more products will come out with the name agent in them. that's a slam dunk. So okay, that's Apple. I think we've kind of hit Apple. What else? Because I think we've done Google. We haven't talked about agents, so maybe that's a good pivot point. We talked last year when we were predicting 2024, we were like a truly, quote unquote, truly viable personal AI agent by the end of 2024. Is that going to happen? Our definition of agent, by the way, not everybody else's.
No.
I think Beth, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. That was pretty much it. Yeah. Who was I? Have any of you listened to the Artificial Intelligence show? I keep forgetting with Paul Raitzer. So he was talking. Was it him? Was it him? Or he was talking about there was 3 different types of agents that were. I think it was Brett Taylor who was talking about it. And right now we're in the case of, I think, either persona-based agents or company-specific agents, where you use the company's specific agents. You saw it with HubSpot, you saw it with Salesforce, you saw it with Microsoft Copilot. And it's the agent to use their system the best you can use it, right? However they built it. My thing is, how is that any different than automations? And sure, you have to build it, but still, that means, quote unquote, you have hundreds of agents that now you have to manage. Because if you're on the Microsoft environment and you're on the Salesforce environment and you're on the HubSpot environment, which a lot of people are, enterprise clients, all 3, when do you have time to build all these agents, connect all these? And I think the big thing now is, 1, how do you connect all these agents together? 2, how do I maintain these agents? Because they'll need updates. And can you pay for all these agents? Because I was actually looking at it, because our company is like, our website's on HubSpot, and we use HubSpot a little bit. But I have clients, like in the past, I've been with HubSpot since like 2012, been doing a lot of HubSpot work. But to pay for the different levels of HubSpot, it's very interesting, because if you actually, I'll show you what that actually looks like. Let me bring that up. For those who don't know, it's HubSpot Breeze. That's the agent. And if you go here, just really quickly, okay. So you can try their Copilot, and then you have their, if I browse agents, there are really 4 main agents. The social agent, I don't know how that is any different than ChatGPT, but I guess you can do it inside platform. Prospecting agent, create personalized strategies. And then there's the content agent and the customer, but you have to pay for their service package on top of the marketing package. So that obviously, I thought they're going to have an agent type separation. But regardless of all of this, I don't know how it's feasible that every single company, like you said, Brian, is going to have their own agent, because that's a lot of things that every single person has to remember and memorize. And at the same time too, for example, a client wanted us to build with customer agent. I was like, okay, that's great. But I think we all know you can't switch between large language models. Not that I know of. The customization of said model or said system is going to be limited, because as HubSpot, I think you want broad, to as many people as possible, as simple as possible, but it's not like a chatbot, like a logic-based chatbot, right? There's a lot of things that go into it in terms of, what kind of questions is your customer asking? And if they ask certain questions and this thing doesn't get it right, a lot of the times it's a custom instruction that you can change. You can change the type of data that you're putting into it. So a lot of people won't know that. And so I can see a lot of frustration going into this, because you're like, it's not answering the way I want it, or I want it to do other things, or the expectation is so much higher because they've seen it with what ChatGPT does. They've seen it with what a Claude does. How come this can't do the same thing? It was like, well, no. Like, it's not, because unless you're able to customize all those things, I don't think they'll let you do it. Now, I'm like the next week or so that we're going to be building through this, so we'll see. But to me, when you have those type of agents, aren't they just wrappers on the LLMs already out there, just in terms of HubSpot, with a HubSpot lens, with a Salesforce lens, with a Microsoft lens? And it's not like these companies have AI like dedicate, like they have a couple, but we're not talking about like, here's OpenAI's agent versus a HubSpot agent. That to me is, I think we're all looking for the more generalist agent rather than the company specific quote unquote agent.
And I'm with you, because I'm not good Salesforce. I mean, good HubSpot, good any of them. What I think we all, I get the impression we all agree with this is, fantastic. You've created a smarter automation. You created a smarter Zapier within your product. That's not really what we mean by agent, and so I think that's my hardest thing. And look, I realize that we're in a bubble, that we talk about this stuff all the time, and that probably very little, if anybody else outside of our bubble, our world in AI, cares whether it's called an agent or not. It drives me nuts, because I just think you should use the right terms. And I think there's a land grab right now, like there was for the term GPT, like there was for a lot of other stuff. And it's not really the true feeling of it. But hey, listen, there's a lot of benefit for better automations. I'm certainly not knocking that. I just think it should be called, I don't know what it should be called, but it's just better automations. And so that's great. I like Agent Force from what I can tell. I think we'll do a whole show on that. That's Salesforce's product. But yeah, so anyway, that's my take on that. I kind of feel like, no, we're not there yet, but also we're just starting to see the fruits of labor of reasoning, obviously with O1 preview, and what some other models like Perplexity, if you go into Perplexity and they're pro, you get like sort of a thinking, reasoning, kind of an O1 type response there. I know I'm jumping between tools, but like it's going to take some time to work through the reasoning to see O1 go from preview into full. O1's going to need to go to O2 and O3. That could all happen in 2025. We'll talk about that on a 2025 prediction show. It's not going to happen in Q4. I don't even know if preview will come out of preview in 2024, to be honest with you. I think we still got a few months of OpenAI really wanting to test that out on there. Okay, so we kind of jumped around there, and we want to.
So I just want to say for agents, Dharmesh, I think is the HubSpot creator or CTO or something. He actually also has a side project for agent called agent.ai. And so I think that's something to look at. But the word that we're dropping with agent is autonomous. So like none of these are autonomous agents taking action on your behalf, using their own reasoning skills and doing it in the way that you want. All of these are like fancy automations.
Yeah. And again, tons of value in that for sure. Just like, it's how you type things and how you try to smooth it over your marketing and stuff. Okay, so we haven't really sort of talked about OpenAI. So what's going on with OpenAI? Well, they've continued to put out new models and new interesting things, but they've also not put out a couple of things. Like, for instance, just a few days, we finally got the advanced voice mode that they demoed on their demo day months ago, but we haven't seen Sora. They have put it out O1 preview, which I don't know that anybody necessarily saw coming out as a side model, as a new class of models, not a GPT model, but like a different class of model for reasoning. I didn't necessarily, that wasn't on my bingo card. So they did that, right? They haven't come out with like a Dolly 4. Dolly 3 is good, but it's being passed very quickly by the fluxes of the world and things like that. And obviously it's not doing anything with video, right? So I think OpenAI could certainly leap into that area, as well as lip syncing and things like that, or not like singing, but like lip syncing for videos and things like that. So I'll be interested to see what they do there. I personally don't think we will see any major updates in the next 90 days from OpenAI. What we predicted in the 2024 show was that OpenAI would probably split. And the reality is we didn't miss that by much, because Sam Altman has said that is going to happen in 2025. There's not a split, but it's going to be a reorg, and it's going to be much more public, and the umbrellas are going to change, because it's very weird the way that it's set up currently. And so a lot of that will be happening in 2025. We actually were predicting that last year, that they would be more of a public-facing company or a public company, which they do have parts of that, because they want to align right for investors. They want billions in investment. They have to build all these new data centers, probably get into nuclear like Microsoft is doing, all that stuff. So there's a lot that's going to happen. But do you guys see like a Dolly 3? Do you think Sora's coming out? Do you think GPT next / whatever 5 or whatever you want to call that? Are we going to see any of that drop in Q4?
I do, because the one person who kept saying something about it is Jimmy Apples, and the one person who has pretty much been bang on most of the time, or at least get the hint for it, is like in that. So I think the model that will drop, because I think the comment was that O1 reasoning is still, the way that it reasons is different, but it's still underlying a GPT-4o type foundation. So I think that's the change, is O1's going to be there, but 4o is going to be changed to whatever that next thing is. I feel, and there's too many OpenAI people. The one person who said Shiptober, I'm like, okay, they're shipping something out in October. Please, not stupid safety blog posts, because there's lots of those. And I get it why they do it, but I was like, no, I want stuff in our hands. I don't think Sora is coming out, because if from the information, what that says was they have to redo it, because I get it. If they release something that takes so long to generate images, you'll just dismiss it like everything else. So I would imagine if they redid that, I do believe two things, and maybe this is overly optimistic, but two things that I think are coming out is one, O1 comes out of preview within a month. And then I do believe a new model drops. Whatever that next is or anything, that model drops. I'm assuming after the election, but who knows what happens in October. Maybe end of October.
Right.
I'm going to say, sorry, Jyunmi, you go.
I was just going to say, I'm going to be a little more on the conservative side for the prediction there. I don't think it's going to be another major model before the end of 2024. But I want it to be the next major update to whatever or morph custom GPTs into. So I know we've had a lot of discussion in the back channel of like custom GPTs maybe having all of these components to be more agentic. So if not a new major model, a major update to how custom GPTs work. With model switching, all those kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right. I'm going to say that O1 API will be accessible to Tier 1 by the end of Q4, and that is an aspirational wish, because please don't make us wait until 2025. It went down to Tier 4, so, like, hoping that would be very nice. Because then you can really, like, add the reasoning into your automations, into, like, things that you're building with Replit and Cursor. Like, I want that. I really want that. So,
question for all of you. Do you think we ever get, or when do we get, vision with the advanced voice? Because that whole thing was supposed to be vision and voice. We got the voice. Where's I remember they said they're doing it separately, but it's there.
Yeah.
They demoed the crap out of it for months and months. So do you think they're going to drop it, or they're going to alpha that for a couple people and then wait another couple months and then release it?
I think it's going to happen. I just think it's a 2025. That's my thought on that. If we see anything in Q4, my guess, and I don't even know that I believe this will happen, but my guess would be it'd be a Dolly 3. It'd be an image upgrade with some sort of video, but not Sora. I just mean like some sort of like video part to it or whatever, or it just could be a better image creator, which would be helpful too. But I don't know. I don't think so. What do you think, Jyunmi or Beth? I don't think we're going to see the vision plus voice.
I think it's interesting that we are that we're in this position, because Siri is going to have Siri's going to be able to understand what you're looking at on your phone. I assume that is also what you're looking at through your camera. Claude, the iOS app, has a direct link to your camera. So it looks like you're showing this to Claude, but you have to take the picture for it to upload to Claude. So I feel like we're so close to it.
Does Meta have it yet? Does Meta have that? I think they have some sort of weird voice thing. Couldn't find it, couldn't use it on my apps, but I don't think they have the vision part though. Do they? Well, there are a bunch of glasses, but that's not even remotely like close to consumer production at all.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I sort of forget that Meta does. Apologies.
I will say this. I think I'll leave this for the 2025 prediction. Meta ain't messing around. I know that much. Yeah.
I think we get longer with voice before we get the vision added. I think they give us 2 hours or 3 hours with voice, because I think it's a little bit of a resources thing that they're trying to figure out. So,
and like I think we're kind of on time here before we're going to switch over and try our other live, which will kind of keep this conversation going. So, like I said, if you're in our live chat right now, hang out with us. Like, don't leave, because we really want to see the comments come in. We're just going to be switching from StreamYard, which is where you're seeing us right now, over to Restream, which is what we're hoping is our new platform. But before we do that, we did have it come up in the comments, so I want to bring it up. One player that we haven't talked about, well, there's been a few. We haven't really talked about X and all that. Maybe we'll do that on the other stream. But Perplexity. Perplexity's had a fantastic year. They had a major commercial go out with Jim Harbaugh, which was, I agree, Karl, when you said it was well done. It was well done. And I hope to see more of those. They've raised money several times. Perplexity, for a tool that, could have potentially been steamrolled by Google, and maybe still will. Maybe Google will make it so you don't really need Perplexity, or maybe search with OpenAI will do that. But as it stands right now, I don't know that we'll see any major updates for Perplexity, but I certainly think they're going to come out with a few more bells and whistles before the end of the year, because they're moving, and they're moving fast. They kind of have to. They have to keep innovating at the speed of light at this point, I think. So, you guys think anything major from Perplexity other than sort of more of what they're doing great?
I think what the innovations will not be like AI type, but I think they're gonna start trying to get closer to what Google is. So, for example, like when you did navigational searches to get to a specific site, that was a weakness for Perplexity, right? Because the main point is it's an answer engine, so it wants to answer your questions. But if your question is a one-word let's say HubSpot, it would be like, here, this is HubSpot, blah, blah, blah. But the intent is I would just want to go to the HubSpot website. But I think it's addressed that, because when you do put HubSpot, it goes, the first thing that you see is HubSpot, right? Like it has the HubSpot, like kind of its own version of HubSpot. The website, it doesn't have like 3 links. It's just, here's HubSpot and you go to HubSpot. So I think they're going to just start doing a little bit more. There's more discovery. I do think, which I'm not a big fan of, is the ads component. I don't know how they're going to do that, but I think there's going to be an ads component.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, is that by the end of the year, the ads will start dropping. And with that, I think they will have a campaign to start integrating into all of the common places where they'll fit, like into each of the browsers, if they can. You know, you have your selection of available browsers, whatever deal they have to do to get into that. I think they're already on the new ones like Arc. But just getting into every version. I probably see them connected to Opera. You know, that'd be a really good fit. Just anything that's probably whatever kind of competition to Google, they're probably going to try and live in that space.
Yep. Okay. Listen, let's leave it there. We're going to transition over to our after party or after show. It's not episode 301. It's literally just a little extra. Probably go on it for we'll go live for maybe 10 minutes, depending how it goes. So again, if you're on YouTube right now, you're going to see us on you're seeing us on a 20-second delay. But as you hear this, if you're on YouTube right now in the comments, hang tight, just go back to the Daily AI Show YouTube page and you will see a new YouTube live go live. It's not there right this second because we're just literally going to live. It's on a scheduled event. So I just want to make sure everybody's super clear on what they're looking for. Just, you may have to refresh the page on YouTube, but you will see a new YouTube live and then just literally come in and join us there. From your side of things, you should not see anything different. Only difference you're going to see is our layouts and things like that may look a little different from our live. That's assuming it all goes perfectly. So we'll wrap show 300 up today. I couldn't leave my background on any longer because it literally sounded like my computer was going to take off. So, and it's calmed down since I stopped doing that. So clearly StreamYard and my computer weren't loving the virtual background. So that'll wrap it up for this show. Thank you to everybody. You know, let's just take a quick pause here to say thank you to everybody, whether this is your day one or you've been hanging with us most of the 300. And like Jen, you've been hanging with us almost the whole time. So thank you to all of our repeat watchers, viewers, listeners on different platforms, not just YouTube, but Spotify and Apple and other places, LinkedIn as well. We appreciate you very much. We have no intention of slowing down. This is episode 300, but we're going to blink our eyes and we're going to be talking about episode 500. And that will happen in 2025. So until then, have a great weekend. If you're wrapping up with us, if you're on YouTube live right now in the comments, give it about a minute or two and we will be live on Restream. So we'll wrap it up for there. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to go to dailyaishow.com, especially if you want to get on the newsletter list. That next newsletter is going out Sunday morning. Okay, bye, everybody.
Aloha.